Hello, boys and girls. This is Dana Duke. I'm just going to teach you a very short lesson about Pablo Pucasso today because I want you to have plenty of time to work on your own inspired picture by Picasso. I'm going to start. I have a really cute book called Picasso for Kids. And if you'll notice on the outside, this young boy is about probably 3.5, 4 feet tall, and look how big this Picasso picture is. It's very, very large. Picasso was one of the most interesting and the most famous artists of all times. I was able this past summer to go to his museum in, let's see, where was it? In Europe. I can't remember where it was exactly. I'll tell you in a minute. But we went to the museum, and it was just beautiful, beautiful pieces of art. And he lived to be over 90 years old. He was a very interesting fellow, and his art changed over the years. I'll show you some of the pictures that this little book has in it. This first one is called Head, and if you'll look at it, it's kind of a crazy looking head. It's the same, similar to the one on the front. It's in the Smithsonian Institution, and that's just the name of it, Head. And if you will look at it, he's got the head there and the eyes in different places. It's just very, very abstract. This one is one of the famous ones. I saw this in the museum. It's called Pigeons. There were many, many of the pigeon pictures all over the museum. He would get in the mood to do a new style, and then he would do a lot in that style and then change them. And it is located in Barcelona. That's where it was, Barcelona, Spain, where I went. I had to think about it, but I went to Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, which is Holland, and I went to Picasso's museum in Barcelona, Spain. He became famous in his lifetime, unlike Van Gogh, who was very poor and only had sold one painting when he died. See what this next one is. It's called Large Still Life on a Pedestal Table, and it is located in the museum in Paris, France. If you will look at it, it's very, very colorful, very abstract, lots of different shapes. It's very interesting. This next one is called Child Holding a Dove. It is located in the London Gallery. And if you look at it, it's just exactly what it is. A little child, a little bit off-center with a ball down here, holding a dove. When you compare these two, they're very different, but yet they're both Picasso. This one is called Paul Drawing. He had a little boy named Paul, and so he drew several pictures of Paul, his son. This is Paul Drawing, and this is Paul as a harlequin, which is like a clown. So as you see, not only did he do those abstract pictures like he's most famous for, but he did real-life looking pictures as well. This one is called Mother and Child. If you look at her, she's looking down at her baby. Look how real the faces look. This one is in Chicago, and it is oil on canvas, Mother and Child. This next one is called The Acrobat's Family with a Monkey. So there's the monkey in the picture and the acrobat and the family. That one is located in New York at the Knott's Museum in New York. This next one is very interesting. It's called Woman with a Blue Beret and Fur Collar. So if you look at it, that is very, very interesting. Her blue beret and her collar and the collar. It's also in New York. This one is called Curtain for Parade. It is located in Paris. Very, very large picture. And then it just tells you at the back where I just told you where they were located. But Pablo Pucasso, just for your information, when you go home today, I want you to tell your parents at least 3 or 4 things that you learn about Pablo Pucasso. He was born in 1881 in Spain. So if he was still living today, he would be well over 100, like about 140. His given name was Pablo Ruiz, though he eventually took his mother's maiden name, which was Picasso. He is considered to be, by many, the most important artist of the 20th century, and he was chosen as Time magazine's 100 most influential people of the century. Picasso experimented with many different styles of art during his career, as you can see in this varied example of his artwork in this book. He was also extremely prolific, creating over 20,000 works of art in his lifetime. I'm going to say that again, 20,000 works of art. There's an interesting thing to remember. He was said to be a child prodigy. That means he was very, very gifted, very, very genius at a young age. He was also very talented because he started painting and drawing at a very young age. And by the time he was 14, he was a master artist, 14 years old. In 1895, he gained admittance to the Academy of Fine Arts in Barcelona, Spain, where his father was a teacher. And he completed the entrance exam in only one day. And it usually would take artists over a month to pass all the tests. He spent most of his life in France, however. After traveling between France and Spain for several years, he finally moved to Paris in 1904. And there he was exposed, that means he was able to look at them, many different styles of art, and he began experimenting himself. He used different colors in the blue period, and also different styles throughout his career. He is considered to be a pioneer of Cubism, which uses geometric shapes as an indefinite sense of space and overlapping forms. I showed you that when he would use the different shapes and overlapping forms, just like on the cover of the book. His name and works are extremely recognizable today, but even, as I told you, he was very well known in his lifetime, which is very unusual in the world of art. He was the first living artist to have an exhibition in the Louvre in Paris, France. His fame kept him safe during the German occupation of Paris in World War II, despite the fact that he and his art were hated or despised by the Nazis, who were the German soldiers. After a long and successful career, Pablo Pucasso died in 1973 in France, and he was over 90 years old. He left behind an enduring legacy, and his art and his impact on artists continue to be appreciated today. As I showed you all the different ones in his books, Pablo Pucasso had many, many famous works of art. Also this summer when I went to the Vatican, I was able to see lots of famous artists work inside the Vatican. However, Pablo Picasso's works, even though they were there, had to be kept under lock and key because they were so valuable that they did not want to put them out so the people that were visiting the museum could see it or possibly steal it. So, as today you learn about Pablo Picasso, you're going to get to make your own Pablo Picasso inspired work. So what were some of the things that you might remember so you can go home and tell about Pablo Picasso? He was an artist from Barcelona, France, and he also lived in Barcelona, Spain, and he also lived in Paris, France. He did over 20,000 works of art during his lifetime. He also lived to be 90 plus years old. He had lots of different girlfriends, different wives. He was married twice, but he had lots of girlfriends as well. And he did have a boy named Paul, whom he did a lot of pictures of. There are many, many more things about Pablo Picasso, but that's enough for you to be able to go home and tell about his works. You might want to go on the computer and put Picasso's artworks and look up some of his most famous pictures yourself. Hope you enjoy doing your art inspired by Pablo Picasso. Have a good day.